Okay, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be doing the third Progressive Voice Mega Show, live Mega Show. Now we're going to be covering a bunch of different stories here. We got like a plethora of stories to go over. Some more important than others, some more interesting, etc., etc. But anyways, let's jump right into it. So there is a megachurch pastor who is accused of quote-unquote sucking the community dry, because there are photos that have emerged of his $230,000 Bentley. So, you guys have probably heard a lot of these stories where there are these televangelists or these pastors of some sort and some kind of basically religious figure essentially having a bunch of money. So here's what this article says. It says Dr. William H. Curtis, the pastor of the Mount Ararat Baptist Church in Pittsburgh, is facing some blowback after photos posted online revealed that he is now driving a $230,000 Bentley Bentayga. As the Christian Post reports, the controversy started when Pittsburgh resident Jarrell Taylor posted a photo of the pastor's Bentley on Facebook last week when he criticized Curtis for buying such a luxurious vehicle that's worth roughly twice the median income in the church's neighborhood. Quote, if your pastor is driving a Bentley truck, he is sucking your community dry with hope and tithes. So that's actually really true. So, the fact that the car is worth twice the median income in the neighborhood is really, kind of distressing for a few different reasons. First of all, as a pastor, you're supposed to be helping the community and not really being as tentative to yourself in such a luxurious way. Now, there should I don't mind you driving like a decent car, like that's fine, right? Like you can drive a decent car. My problem is when you're throwing down for a $230,000 car, which is worth double the median income in your fucking neighborhood. That's a little over the top, right? That's a lot of money. You're supposed to be caring for the community. You're supposed to be not selfish. That's the reasoning I believe that people give, other than it's of the devil, for not masturbating. So it's it's interesting. They also say Curtis did not respond to the Christian Post questions about the car, although the publication did successfully reach out to Samuel Cruz, an associate professor of religion and society at the Union Theological Seminary in New York City, who criticized the pastor's car choice as being tone deaf. I don't know how owning a Bentley that's worth $230,000 contributes in any way to the furtherance of the kingdom, and also how that could be justified. To own a car that expensive, you have to be among the top 10% of income earners, or even higher of these United States of America. And I can't consider how preaching could lead someone to so much wealth. So this is absolutely correct. Now, here's, the first front was that the pastor's supposed to really care about the community, right? But he's honestly also contradicting his own holy text that he supposedly believes in, right? That he's preaching it. That's his whole thing. He preaches the whole, the text. So this is Matthew 19:24. Matthew 19:24 says, again, I tell you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. So, again, having a $230,000 car, a car is something that people, normal people max out at around 40 for a car, and that's like upper, normal people. So upper middle class people are going to max out there. 230,000 is a lot of that's like more than some people's houses, for fuck's sake. That's so much money, and this is a mega church. He's a pastor, and he has this much money for a car. It's extremely, suspicious to me, to say the least, man. But anyways, so moving on here, as I'm sure you guys know, Stormy Daniels, she's someone who we've talked about a few times already on the show, because there's been a lot of funny stuff that came up from her, stories that she's given. So recently she came out saying, I didn't, it wasn't a lie, it was just I didn't tell the truth or some shit, or it was a lie. I forget exactly what it was. I don't remember verbatim what it was, but essentially she was saying she didn't tell the truth not because of the money, but because she wanted the publicity or some shit. But anyways, so Stormy Daniels, as you guys know, is the woman who actually had an affair with Trump. She had an affair with Trump While he was actually already married to Melania, and Melania was actually already pregnant with Barron Trump. So that's pretty significant, right? And when it comes to the party of family values and the party who's supposed to have those kinds of things, it's pretty bad, right? But obviously Donald Trump doesn't really give a shit. So Stormy Daniels has told her friends that she is, quote, free to talk, after Michael Cohen, who is the lawyer that paid her $130,000 to stay quiet, has breached their contract. So Raw Story says a Hollywood tabloid is reporting that Stormy Daniels thinks that she is free to speak, since Michael Cohen acknowledged that she was paid by him to keep her mouth shut about an alleged affair with President Donald Trump. The Blast reported Wednesday that Daniels told friends she fully intends to speak out in wake of Cohen's public statement. Gina Rodriguez, a manager for Daniels, confirmed to the Associated Press that she believes Trump's lawyer invalidated the non-disclosure agreement. Sources told The Blast that Daniels' legal team notified Trump's legal team, including Cohen, that they're in violation of the 2016 agreement. Presumably, their agreement was to not discuss if there was an agreement. While speaking to Jimmy Kimmel, Daniels wouldn't confirm or deny anything. Instead, she stayed silent. If Cohen acknowledged that there was a deal when Daniels did not, it's possible that violated the agreement. Cohen announced late Tuesday that he paid Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, the $130,000 independently of the Trump campaign and the Trump organization. The payout occurred just weeks prior to the 2016 election, and Cohen indicated it was to keep her mouth shut. Quote, neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was a part of the transaction with Ms. Clifford, and neither reimbursed me for the payment either directly or indirectly, he said in the statement. That's a strong statement to make. First of all, that was my reaction to the statement that he made. This could really, I feel like, come back to bite him, because I'm pretty sure that you got reimbursed in one way or another. If not, why the fuck would you pay her, right? I mean, that's just massively stupid, and I don't buy it for a second whatsoever. But this is a story that, it's something that I find funny, period. I guess that's the best way to put it. I find it to be a hilarious story. There isn't really much to talk about here, but I just thought that it's a funny story. Now we have a breaking story, and probably should have talked about this one first. There is a horrible shooting that has been reported out of Florida high school. Now, there are at least 14 victims so far. Superintendent said that there are multiple fatalities. So as you guys know, in America, there's a lot of gun shooting deaths. Gun deaths. That's probably like one of the characteristic things of the United States at this point. Unfortunately, we already heard about other school shootings somewhat recently. Now, here's what they say the Broward County Sheriff's Office in Florida is responding to reports of a shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Broward County Public Schools said it is receiving reports of multiple injuries. A suspect is in custody, the sheriff's office said on Twitter. So luckily there's a suspect in custody. Hopefully that's the person. It says aerial footage from WSVN showed a number of people lying on the ground outside of school, being treated for injuries and moved to ambulances. As students streamed away from the school, some ran while others walked quickly in orderly lines with their hands above their heads. Nicole Balzer, 18, said she was in trigonometry class about 10 minutes before the end of the school day when the fire alarm went off. As students evacuated, she heard 6 gunshots and everyone started running back inside the school. Quote, I heard so many gunshots, at least like 6. They were very close. Balzer said she is still on lockdown in a classroom on the 2nd floor. Her stepsister is also on lockdown in a different classroom. Quote, everyone just started freaking out, a student told CNN affiliate WSVN. Quote, we all thought it was a fire drill because we had one previously today. And we thought it was, so no one was that nervous. But then word started going around that it was shots and not just like something else. Everyone just started running toward the canal. Lisette Rosenblatt told CNN that her daughter safely evacuated the school and was taking shelter at a nearby Walmart. Quote, she was very nervous. She said that she could hear the person who was shot crying out for help and was just a nervous wreck. So this is another horrific, and I mean horrific, incident of a school shooting any shooting in the U.S., but they seem like they happen so often. So I guarantee that this is just going to be swept under the rug, and it's so sad because as soon as I just read to you guys that where she said she was in trigonometry class, that kind of hit like a, like a connection with me, of course, because that's a class I took in my sophomore year. I'm currently a senior in high school. This was 2 years ago, not even full 2 years ago, but, that's a class I took. So it's like, I took Algebra 2 trig, but this, a complication that doesn't need to be stated. But it's just, it really hits home for me because it's like this person is in high school. This, it's very, what if this were to happen at my high school? And it's very sad to see these kinds of things happening. And there are at least 14 people dead. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that they're going to end up having to clock in more because they're going to end up finding more people dead, which is just fucking horrible. It's fucking horrible. They say dozens of law enforcement vehicles are on site, including one tank. They have a fucking tank there, along with a team of heavily armed law enforcement officers. Agents from the Miami office of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives are responding to the scene, a spokesman said. Parkland is a city of more than 20,000 people outside Boca Raton in Broward County, Florida. Stoneman Douglas High School had an enrollment of about 3,100 students in the 2015-16 year, according to the National Center for Educational Statistics. So, and then there's a clarification that they wrote down here as well. They say, earlier reports from WSVN said that 20 people may have been injured. CNN has not confirmed the number of injured. This is a developing story and will be updated. So, again, we have another shooting that has happened here. But, this is something that's really, really shitty. And there's going to be more information coming. So if this is a story that's important to you, make sure you keep close to it because there's 100% going to be a bunch of updates on it. I just started to get some updates on it recently, not too long ago. But I wanted to break that story to you guys. There's another shooting in a Florida high school. Now, we're going to be moving on to something that kind of I was talking about. I was talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in relation to what Trump has said and what he has done in the previous show. Now we're going to be talking about something that I haven't actually gotten to talking about, but there were reports that there was a police investigation going on to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that they were looking into whether or not they wanted to recommend charges of corruption or bribery, and it looks like they have came to a conclusion. Now they have come to a conclusion that they are going to recommend bribery charges on Benjamin Netanyahu. So this is some really serious shit, especially because to my understanding the previous prime minister had some kind of iffy past as well, and Ben came out really hard against it. So now there's a story that says Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu shrugs off police corruption claims. So this is really embarrassing, but here's what this says. It says Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday shrugged off police recommendations that he be charged with corruption, calling the allegations, quote, biased, extreme, full of holes like Swiss cheese, and vowed to remain in office. So this guy is a complete douchebag, quite clearly. It's very obvious that he is corrupt, and he has, he's going to be brought down on these charges. He's also someone who's actually kind of similar to Trump in that he goes after the press. So it also says, speaking at a local government meeting in Tel Aviv, Netanyahu said his government remains stable despite the police announcement, and that, quote, the truth will come to light and nothing will come of this. Israeli opposition leaders have called on Netanyahu to step down, but the longtime premier angrily rejected those calls as well. The police announcement late Tuesday that Netanyahu accepted nearly $300,000 in gifts from two billionaires dealt the embattled prime minister an embarrassing blow after years of investigations, but did not appear to immediately rattle his rule. His reaction largely fell along partisan lines. Nearly all of Netanyahu's cabinet members issued statements of support, and no coalition partners appeared ready to bolt. Netanyahu's coalition whip, David Amsalem, accused the police of committing, quote, an illegitimate act here to attempt a coup in Israel. Opposition politicians, meanwhile, urged Netanyahu's coalition allies to abandon his government. So what it seems like here is there are literally charges that are being recommended by the Israeli police for him to be charged of corruption because he accepted $300,000 from two billionaires. But he's saying it has holes in it, like Swiss cheese and all this shit. But what's really going to take it, what it's really going to take for Netanyahu to go down, apparently, it seems to be the case that the only thing that will actually take him down is either one of two things, right? His own cabinet saying fuck you, or it's going to be his coalition party members dipping out. It seems to be the case. Those are the only two ways that Benjamin Netanyahu will actually be out. And I can't wait for the day that Netanyahu is out of office, because he has obstructed peace by continuing the illegal settlements within the West Bank. And he is someone who's killed many innocent children, women and children. And I believe in the 2014 Gaza War, something like 90% of people killed were civilians. So the dude is a clean-cut asshole. And if we really want to get peace, we're going to need someone from the Labor Party. Now I have another story about this. So it says, more Israelis believe police than Netanyahu, polls show. It says, almost half of Israel's electorate believe the country's police, who say they have gathered evidence against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and called for him to be charged with bribery, a poll shows on Wednesday. A police statement on Tuesday said enough evidence had been found for the 68-year-old premier to be charged in two separate cases. One of the biggest challenges Netanyahu has faced during his long dominance of Israeli politics. The poll aired on the Israeli commercial television channel Reshet. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce those. My apologies. Said 49% of respondents sided with the police's version that Netanyahu had acted improperly. 25% said they believe Netanyahu, who denies wrongdoing. The remainder, 26%, said they did not know whom to believe. So 26% are still, they don't know who to believe. But only 25% say they believe Netanyahu. So basically, double the amount of people that say that that they believe Netanyahu. So essentially, double that amount say that no, we believe the police, and they should believe the police because it's the fucking police. And apparently, Netanyahu was trying to get them to stop the investigation, which is truly fucking Nixonian shit. It's pretty crazy. It says, but the poll supported Netanyahu more when people were asked whether Netanyahu should remain in office or temporarily step aside. 49% said he should stay put. 43% said that he should suspend himself. So that's something that's really sad. People, I guess, are the Israeli electorate, or maybe the people who actually go out and vote. I don't know if there's a similar situation as there is to the United States, but the fact that they still want Netanyahu in office is something that's extremely disappointing and really sad, because, again, he's somebody who's killed many innocent women and children, and he's obstructed peace by continuing the illegal settlements, and he's somebody who doesn't really, want peace. He's not really somebody who wants peace, and if he tells you that, he's just saying that, and he's just completely BSing, and that is the just complete, absolute truth. So really quickly, I actually want to give a shout out to Alex Paves for becoming new patron. He's pledged $5 a month on Patreon. You can help out the show, patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next live stream.